So welcome to this video. What we're going to do here is, with Ableton Live, explore techniques that are almost impossible with any other DAW. They are 20th century modernist or minimalist or generative techniques, which allow you to start from nothing and create a sense of flow just through these simple processes. There are three techniques we're going to do in three sections. One is that of phasing, where one musical motif is delayed against the other. Now you can do this in steps, phasing, or gradually, what we call micro-phasing, like Steve Reich's piano phase. Then we'll look at indeterminacy, that is when we leave it to chance whether notes play or not. And finally, the ability to have polyphonic glides, that is, notes that bend against each other to form awesome transitions. To achieve these, we'll use these tools in Ableton Live. Now it's possible to do all of them in Live 11, but there are some extra tools only possible in Live 12, which I've highlighted here. So let's get to it. So we're going to start here in the arrangement view, and all I have is one piano sound. And the first thing I'll do is choose a time signature. You can choose whatever you like, but I'm going to go with the piano phase influence and go for 6/8 and about 100 BPM. So we'll drag out one bar. Command-Shift-M gives us our first MIDI clip here. We're going to work diatonically, so I'm going to pick a scale. I've chosen B minor, but again, you can choose whatever you like, 5, 6 or 7 note scale. And clicking here will reduce our view so we only see the scale. And I want to make a melody. I could copy the one from piano phase, but I'm just going to make one up just very quickly. First of all, I'll check that we have a semiquaver 16th grid, and with the pencil B, I'm just going to draw in a contour. In fact, if you've got Live 12, you can go to the Generate panel. Might be closed, so click Generate here, go to Shape. And here you can automatically create contours or just draw one in. Either way you do it, you've got this skeletal melody here, which you can quickly enter. It's not even composing, it's painting. Let's drop the pitch down a bit somewhere there, lower pitch. If you have this highlighted and Command L, we can loop and hear this. I don't really like these repeated notes, so I can manually move them around. Or keeping with the aesthetic of algorithmic composition, you can use in Live 11, you can have this area and you can just reverse it to try something else out. Or turn it upside down. Live 12 allows, under transform and recombine, all sorts of combinations, rotating it. Or changing the order completely. So get to this point and something you're happy with. I'll play with this a little more and get back to you, and we'll meet again soon. So you should now have a clip you're happy with. And it's going to loop many times. So what we're going to do is add a little bit of variation, not in the notes or the rhythm, but in how loud they're played. So if I select them all here, you'll see we can change the velocity in this velocity lane of all of them. But if we command drag, this range appears, which means it will randomly select within this range the velocity. Humans don't play the same every time, and so this adds some humanity. Now, we'll do many repeats, so what we'll do is repeat this clip so that there are 4 of them, and join them together in a mega clip. Loop that selection. And loop that selection. Now Piano Face has 2 pianos, so I'm going to simply duplicate this piano here. So we have 2, and separate them left and right. Now the main mechanism in Piano Face is that one piano gradually gets faster against the other until it's one subdivision, one note ahead, stays there and keeps repeating that process till it gets back to where it starts. So how do we do that? Well, firstly, let's duplicate those clips. And the aim is to make this one note ahead. So we're going to manipulate this clip so that it's phased against this one. Let's color it so we know what we're doing. Now, if we have this set to semiquavers, and I'll turn this loop on, you'll see that there's this start point here. And if I drag it, you'll see in the arrangement, it updates the position of these notes. And this is what we want, this A to start. So now, whilst this clip is starting with a B, this is starting with an A. It sounds like this. Gorgeous. The challenge, though, is how we get from this clip to this clip, because Piano Phase doesn't just jump to that new position, it slowly morphs there. If you're experienced with Ableton Live, you might have some idea how to do it. It's a moment to try it out. But otherwise, I'll show you my solution now. So how do we make this clip transition so it ends up one note ahead? Okay, so there's a couple of steps here. Firstly, we need to set this to loop. You'll see why later. Secondly, we want this set to semiquavers. The aim here is to have all these notes complete, not by the end of the clip, but by one semiquaver early. So this is how we do it. We select them all, and you see this little MIDI stretch marker here. We just shift it over by one semiquaver. Now these have been squashed so they complete their journey early. We also need to close the loop early. And you'll see, if I zoom in here, that this is now pushed ahead by one note, smoothly morphing into the displaced version. So beautiful. So let's repeat the process, because we're going to do this 12 times to make the complete cycle. So repeat these loops. This one is going to be displaced. Let's recolor it. And we want the next subdivision up. This one has to be squashed in. Select them all. Bring this in, close the loop, and we've done it. one last time, then I'll leave you to complete them. So I'm just going to complete these quickly, and you can pause the video and complete the process yourself so that the 12 notes wrap around again. And that's it. Here's the final transition. Now for this next challenge of indeterminacy, I'm going to use some strings. You can use any polyphonic instrument you like. And I'm soloed it here. And we'll create a 4-bar clip here. Again, we should have the scale on. And here we just want to make 4 chords. Now we can do that again with the scale tool here, bold, and we can stretch them out various ways, and we can just start creating them however we wish in this form. Added in Live 12 is the possibility to add intervals to existing material like this. We'll make this scrunchy type chords. Let's add some intervals to this one. Now, I quite like that as it is, so I'm going to keep that. But I'll show you how in Live 12 you can generate chords even quicker. Again, under the Generate tab, we can go to Stacks. And Stacks automatically generates, given a root, a chord. I'll bring down the root. Lovely. We can make the chord different by simply dragging on this shape. And even inverting it. Now this allows you to create very quickly as many chords as you like, each of them different. Let's change that last one. Lovely. So where does the indeterminacy come from? Well, Ableton Live allows us to change the chance of any of these notes happening. Below the velocity lane is the chance lane. This is really wonderful if they're quite thick chords. You can thin them out. Every time they'll be a little bit different. Lovely. Let's do the same with these. I'll select them. Select as many as you like. Let's say we always want this particular note, or you want it more often than the others. We can simply push the chance of that one occurring. And it gets even more subtle than that. For example, let's say, we can write a little melody and then group it together. And so that melody either plays completely or not at all by using this play all key below. There's a 100% chance they'll all play. But now we can reduce that chance. So sometimes this whole melody will play and sometimes we get nothing. Subtle and beautiful. Our final challenge is that of polyphonic glides. Now what I'll do is move everything 4 bars, so we have space to do that. And again, I'm going to add a string-like instrument. Now this has to be MPE enabled for this to work. So if you look in the browser, you'll want to check that under sounds you have MPE enabled, which will make this possible. So here's how we do it. Let's again fill out this section with a chord, and we can use this technique. Great. So this is our target chord. Now at this point, we're going to remove the scale option and move to this MPE tab. And you'll find both of these need to be turned off. If we highlight any of these notes here, you'll see that this little dotted line appears, and this is a microtonal adjustment to make bends. Now ordinarily pitch bend affects all the notes in a clip, but here with MPE we can separate them out, allowing these awesome transitions. So for example, I'm going to make a little break point here. I'm going to start this E on a G. Now if I move this up and down, Shift makes it smooth, Command locks it in to the chromatic notes. You can hear that moving against the others. It's extraordinary. Let's make it a little bit quicker. And this one we can do in the opposite direction. And this way here. It's crazy. I can start this one here. This gives the ability to do amazing transitions and moments. Thanks for watching. I hope this gives you some inspiration for your own work.